Practical, sure-footed, and just a little bit boring. Meet the all-new 2020 Subaru Legacy. Now, the new Legacy doesn't look that much different from the old Legacy, which was already a fairly anonymous-looking ride, and this white-on-beige color scheme isn't doing it any favors in the excitement department. However, there's a new platform underneath, Subaru's global platform, which you'll find underpinning everything from the Outback to the much larger Ascent. And that doesn't mean that we have a larger Legacy for 2020. In fact, it's only about 1.5 inches longer overall, with I believe the same wheelbase as before. However, there are some significant changes in its larger cabin and in the engine bay. So grab shotgun with me and we'll see what's new. The cabin is more spacious and more premium feeling with nicer materials and nicer leather. Though if beige isn't your jam, maybe consider stepping up to the top level touring model that has a new caramel colored leather that really sets this cabin off. You can find pictures of that over on theroadshow.com. Now this 2.5 liters performance is pretty meh. I mean, there's a good amount of power, but the CVT sort of soaks all the soul out of this car, meaning that you need a pretty heavy right foot in order to get any sort of driving engagement out of it. And when you do, well, it doesn't sound very good, and that sort of discourages you from putting the pedal to the metal. Now, the 2.4 liter is a lot more powerful, but it's got the same transmission and the same soft suspension tune, so even it doesn't really feel like a sports sedan. It's just a little bit faster in a straight line, a little bit better passing power. But let's take a moment to talk about driving engagement. Enthusiasts, if you don't mind, earmuffs for a moment here. Now, engagement is one of those things that enthusiasts look for in sports cars and track toys, but I think that a lot of times you just want something comfortable, quiet, reliable, and most importantly, safe to get you from point A to point B. And judged by those metrics, I think the Legacy here is actually very competitive amongst other sedans and a pretty good car. Enthusiasts, you can take those earmuffs off again. Being built around comfort means that the Legacy's ride is very smooth, very quiet on the highway, and it soaks up bumps well. This isn't a bad place to spend a boring commute or a long road trip, with the exception of the stop-start system, which is uncharacteristically rough in my experience. Sometimes when you pull to a stop, it shuts the engine down and then starts it back up seemingly for no reason. And if you have the steering wheel turned a little bit while you're stopped and the engine fires up, it can snatch it back to neutral, which is disconcerting to say the least. Now, back in the positive category, every Legacy comes standard with Subaru's EyeSight driver aid suite, which uses 2 forward-looking cameras to add features like adaptive cruise control, lane keeping steering assist, automatic emergency braking, and more. And our vehicle also features the driver focus system, which uses inward-looking cameras to watch the driver's face to make sure that you're looking at the road or awake. Now, a nitpick with this system is that it seems like it's always beeping at me for something, even if I just glance down for a second to adjust the radio or the climate controls or figure out how to use this giant 11-inch navigation system. We've got a separate video on that over on the Roadshow as well. Combine that with the lane keeping system beeping every time the road conditions change, and the adaptive cruise control system giving a little beep whenever it gets a new lock on the car ahead of you, and it seems like this system's always beeping at me, and by the end of the week I'm probably going to end up turning most of these systems off if I can't find a way to silence them. That means that I'll probably end up with a less safe drive, but it'll definitely be a much less annoying one. Subaru figured this out. Now, it's no secret that the Legacy and Subaru's Outback are basically different body configurations of the same car. I mean, it's more complicated than that, yes, but you get what I'm saying. However, the Outback has the advantage of having better ground clearance and Subaru's X-Mode terrain control system, something that I can't find in the electronics of this vehicle, which means that the tall wagon has the advantage over rough terrain or in the snow, if that's why you're buying the Subaru for its all-wheel drive system. The Outback also has the advantage in cargo capacity with its tall wagon configuration. I mean, there's a lot of trunk space here, but it's no match for the full folded flat rear seat experience you'll get cramming things into the Outback. Now, I love a sedan as much as the next guy, and I'd hate to see them disappear from the market in favor of SUVs, But for the life of me, I can't really think of any reason why you would go with the Legacy, given that the Outback exists, especially considering that their driving experiences are so relaxed and so similar to each other. Then again, maybe I can think of one reason. Of course, there is the small price advantage. The 2020 Legacy here starts at around $4,000 less than a comparably equipped Outback at around $23,500. At that price, it's a bit of a steal amongst other sedans when you consider the standard all-wheel drive and EyeSight Driver 8 suite. However, I think the sweet spot is the limited model here. As tested, we're looking at around $32,690, though I would definitely be tempted to step up to the limited XT to get that more powerful turbocharged engine, because even when you're thinking practically, it's nice to have a little bit of spice. What we want to know is, how would you spice up the Legacy? I'm thinking big old hood scoop, but you let us know in the comments below. On your way down, hit the subscribe button, and on your way out, be sure to check out our other videos where we dive deep into the driver focus system and that new Starlink infotainment system.